All right, back live now to Ohio University. The president right now saying this is a make or break moment for the middle class. And his words, we've been through too much to turn back now. Much more of our live coverage of the president right now.
We imagined in 2008, where everyone gets a fair shot and everyone does their fair share and everyone plays by the same rules. That's the choice in this election. And that's why I'm running for a second term as president of the United States. Governor Romney is a patriotic American who's raised a wonderful family, and he has much to be proud of. He's run a large financial firm, and he's run a state. But I think he has drawn the wrong lessons from those experiences. He sincerely believes that if CEOs and wealthy investors like him make money, the rest of us will automatically prosper as well. You know, when a woman in Iowa shared the story of her financial struggles, he responded with economic theory. He told her, our productivity equals our income. Well, let me tell you something. The problem with our economy isn't that the American people aren't productive enough. You've been working harder than ever. The challenge we face right now, the challenge we faced for over a decade is that harder work hasn't led to higher incomes. It's that bigger profits haven't led to better jobs. Governor Romney doesn't seem to get that. He doesn't seem to understand that maximizing profits by whatever means necessary, whether through layoffs or outsourcing or tax avoidance or union busting, might not always be good for the average American or for the American economy. Why else would he want to spend trillions more on tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans? Why else would he propose cutting his own taxes while raising them on 18 million working families? Why else would he want to slash the investments that have always helped the economy grow? But at the same time, stop regulating the reckless behavior on Wall Street that helped the economy crash. Somehow, he and his friends in Congress think that the same bad ideas will lead to a different result. Or they're just hoping you won't remember what happened the last time we tried it their way. Well, Ohio, I'm here to say that we were there, we remember, and we are not going back. We are moving this country forward. Look, we want businesses to succeed. We want entrepreneurs and investors rewarded when they take risks, when they create jobs and grow our economy. But the true measure of our prosperity is more than just a running tally of every balance sheet and quarterly profit report. I don't care how many ways you try to explain it. Corporations aren't people. People are people. We measure prosperity not just by our total GDP, not just by how many billionaires we produce, but how well the typical family is doing, whether they can go as far as their dreams and hard work will take them. And we understand that in this country, people succeed when they have a chance to get a decent education and learn new skills. And by the way, so do the businesses that hire them. or the companies that they start. We know that our economy grows when we support research into medical breakthroughs and new technologies that lead to the next internet app or life-saving drug. We know that our country is stronger when we can count on affordable health insurance and Medicare and Social Security. When we protect our kids from toxic dumping and mercury pollution, when there are rules to make sure we aren't taken advantage of by credit card companies and mortgage lenders and financial institutions. And we know these rules aren't just good for seniors or kids or consumers, they're good for business too. They're part of what makes the market work. Look, we don't expect government to solve all our problems, and it shouldn't try. I learned from my mom that no education policy can take the place of a parent's love and affection. As a young man, I worked with a group of Catholic churches who taught me that no poverty program can make as much of a difference as the kindness and commitment of a caring soul. Not every regulation is smart. Not every tax dollar is spent wisely. Not every person can be helped who refuses to help themselves. But that's not an excuse to tell the vast majority of responsible, hardworking Americans you're on your own. That unless you're lucky enough to have parents who can lend you money, you may not be able to go to college. That even if you pay your premiums every month, you're out of luck if an insurance company decides to drop your coverage when you need it most. That's not how we built America. That's not who we are. We built this country together.
All right, President Barack Obama saying this is the campaign of moving forward. More of his live comments. President Barack Obama in Columbus, Ohio, pledging to do more to help more people go to college and community colleges. Let's listen in.
Double down on a clean energy future that's never been more promising for our economy and for our security and for the safety of our planet. That's why I'm running for president. That's the choice in this election, Ohio. For the first time in 9 years, there are no Americans fighting in Iraq. Osama bin Laden is no longer a threat to this country. Al-Qaeda is on the path to defeat. And by 2014, the war in Afghanistan will be over. America's safer and more respected because of the courage and selflessness of the United States Armed Forces. And as long as I'm Commander-in-Chief, this country will care for our veterans and serve our veterans as well as they've served us. Because nobody who fights for this country should have to fight for a job or a roof over their heads when they come home. My opponent said it was tragic to end the war in Iraq. He said he won't set a timeline for ending the war in Afghanistan. I have, and I intend to keep it. After After a decade of war that's cost us thousands of lives and over $1 trillion, the nation we need to build is our own. I will use half of what we're no longer spending on war to pay down the deficit, and the other half to repair our roads and our bridges, our runways, and our wireless networks. That's the choice in this election, to rebuild America. I'm running to pay down our debt in a way that's balanced and responsible. After inheriting a $1 trillion deficit, I signed $2 trillion of spending cuts into law. And now I want to finish the job by streamlining government and cutting more waste and reforming our tax code so that it is simpler and fairer and asks the wealthiest Americans to pay a little bit more. Now, my opponent won't tell us how he'd pay for his new $5 trillion tax cut, a tax cut that gives an average of $250,000 to every millionaire in this country. But we know the bill for that tax cut will either be passed on to our children or it'll be paid for by a whole lot of ordinary Americans. That's what we know. And I refuse to let that happen again.
President Barack Obama outlining what money has been spent on war now that the war in Iraq is over, the war in Afghanistan to end in 2014. He said that money will be used to pay down America's debt and help build roads and bridges. Much more of the president with his campaign called Forward.
Pay more for college or eliminating health insurance.